Bienvenidos una vez más a su programa Hablemos de Real Estate con Carlos Amaya. Hoy tenemos un invitado y vamos a hacer el programa en inglés. So welcome everybody. Today is a special program, someone that I really admire as a person and as a professional. Usually at the end of the year, we are celebrating Christmas, and we're thinking about like New Year's. But with that comes like the planning. So first of all, just realize how did we do in 2022 in this case, and then planning for 2023. And that our guest today has a lot to do in terms of like business planning, in terms of like if you want to increase your production, if you have a company, if you're a real estate investor, or as a person, if you want to have better results in terms of like your personal life or whatever it is. So for that reason, I'm so excited to have this guest, and I'm sure you guys are gonna have a lot of winnings in terms of the information that he's gonna provide today. So stay with us. We're gonna be play a really short video, and he's gonna be with us in a couple seconds. En Hablemos de Real Estate con Carlos Amaya creemos que la familia es la base de la sociedad. Por eso, nuestra misión es proveer información y herramientas a la comunidad latina de cómo lograr la libertad financiera a través de bienes raíces. So today's guest is really someone really special. So it's really close to my heart. He's a bestseller author of the book. At the same time, he's a business coach, and he's someone that I met in one of the masterminds that I belong to, and I was part of his coaching program, and we have great results. So that's why for me it's a pleasure to have my friend Lance Knaub. Lance, how are you?
Fantastic, Carlos. So good to see you. Thanks for having me.
No, thank you for giving us some time, especially this time of the year when a lot of the holidays and everything, so schedules are hard to coordinate. But thank you very much, bro, for being here, and it's a pleasure. Like I said in the intro, someone I admire you as a person and as a professional, and that's what for me is a blessing to have you here, especially for the kind of information and knowledge that we're gonna be talking about today.
Yeah, and vice versa. So much mutual love for you and your family.
So, for the people that don't know you, so can you tell a little bit about you in terms of like where you're coming from, where you are right now, and then we're gonna go deep in terms of like how important planning it is, especially the business planning, and how having a real plan can just make you or break you for the next year.
Sure. So much good stuff to tear into here. So my background is as a physical therapist, and my wife, Jody, and I are both physical therapists. And at least for me, I didn't really feel like I had an entrepreneurial bone in my body. And I started out my career in 1998 as a physical therapist, worked for a couple of years, and I was really frustrated by what clients were being offered. And I thought there was a better way. I really wanted to make sure that the most important parts, the hands-on physical therapy and being supervised with exercises were provided to clients. So I started to do some research and study, and my wife and I started subletting in 300 square feet, the size of an average American bedroom. And it was within a boutique fitness center. And we literally walked next door to the Murphy's Mart to make 10 cents photocopies. We didn't buy a photocopier or fax machine in 2004. And by the way, I know you're, and Juliana, our husband and wife couple. So hopefully there's some other couples like this. So we had gotten.
I was excited about that because like a lot of people that we try to share our knowledge in terms of real estate and investing in terms like our couples. So when you said like with my wife and you were going through that, and I'm just imagining when you said that the size of the room and you're making the 10 cents copies. Okay. So a lot of us feel related with your story. So I was excited. Continue with this.
Okay, good. And yeah, for all those people that, whether your partner is your spouse or, someone else close, we had gotten married in May, and then we started our business in June of 2004. So it was an awful lot fast. But it was a lot of fun, right? Those challenges are what build bonds and make those relationships stronger. So our total startup costs were under $2,000. And again, we had a sign in a window. We didn't have major signage as a subtenant. And over a couple of years, we ended up buying the fitness center that we rented from. And then we actually took a massive leap and expanded to 6,000 square feet next door. We took 2/3 of an old retail space, and we really brought fitness and physical therapy together in a big way. And, over time, I fell in love with the entrepreneurial part of things and studied all kinds of things, including partnerships. I really wanted our best people to have, opportunities, whether they be physical therapists and have partnership opportunities, whatever level in the company. I'm very big on creating win-wins and developing your people, what I call, development plans and making that part of your process. So we were able to bring on our best people as partners. And as part of these development meetings, one of our partners actually said to me that they wanted to run the company. And at first I was startled and taken back. I was like, whoa, what am I going to do? And probably felt a little bit threatened. I took a deep breath and realized this could be a good thing. And then we spent the next couple of years developing them. And in 2018, we handed off our first child, our business, to our partner, who became the CEO and the operator. And that was scary and exciting all at the same time. And that's when I spread my wings a little bit and wanted to, do more and figure out what I really loved. And that's when I started writing a book and serving other entrepreneurs, and kind of led me to some coaching.
So many things about what you said. 2004. So you get married and then you start a business. So the two, like just one of them is really like like kind of like I'm not gonna say risky, but it's like a lot of uncertainty, and you don't know
Sure.
what you get into. And the first couple of months, like the first couple of years, and of either one of them are really like a foundation for whatever is coming forward and coming later. So and you decided to start them, both of them at the same time, and then just start growing little by little, and to the point that like Tony Robbins, someone that I admire a lot, he said, you have to figure it out to stop being a business operator to become a business owner, and you did that. I mean, you grew the business, and they bring, and now, and he always said the business is like a child, like a person, The beginning is like a baby. It requires a lot of attention. Then it's like a toddler, and then it's like a teenager. And when it's in mature state, you have to just hand it off to somebody else to be able to run and just bring it to the next level. And it is not easy. It is easy transaction. A lot of people don't do it, but you guys did it, and obviously it works really well. So going back to that time, so you say, okay, so I just was a hard decision. We made it, and then I spread my wings. So then you ended up writing a book, and then you ended up just getting into other like parts of the industry. So how was the experience? So how was the experience to be, and instead of be the one-on-one like in a daily basis operation of a business, just handle your own. I mean, you have like more free time that you were used to, and then you start writing a book. And how did you decide what was coming next?
Yeah. So, you're right. So many bumps along the way, and I feel like I did everything wrong, right? But I guess that's the joy of where I am now, to try to, share all that information so other entrepreneurs can have less pain and less bumps and bruises. So in 2018, the first thing I did, I knew I wanted to do more, and I knew I wanted to diversify, because for 13 and a half years, we had all of our investments in a small business, which is very risky, as you know. Now, I totally believe that a small business is the greatest wealth generating tool. However, it totally makes sense to still, use a 401k and, invest wisely and to diversify. So I talked to a franchise broker. I thought, a franchise might be nice. Let somebody else worry about the marketing business plan. We're going to talk about strategy and strategic planning today. Let somebody else worry about it, and I'll just execute, and I'll find like an owner, or a passive model where I can have, somebody else be the operator. And I did that, and it was great fun. And to have really, I felt like I was on Shark Tank, because they're presenting to me, they're pitching to me, showing me their model, showing me their marketing plans, showing me everything.
So which one of the sharks were you?
Wow, good question. Definitely, and not Mr. Wonderful. I'm
I
not
was thinking
that
about that. I don't see you as a Mr. Wonderful. I
but
have someone in mind, so I don't know. Let's see which is the same.
oh, sure. Well, I mean, I respect all those guys, and they rotate, but you know, um, I mean, Robert Herjavec's a great guy, and Mark Cuban is incredible. I feel like he's the most aggressive and wins many deals. So I am, if I had to choose one, I mean, Mark Cuban would probably be who I'd go for, but I'm probably maybe more like Robert Herjavec. I don't know. What do you
Yeah,
think?
that's the one that I had in mind. I thought it was Robert. but definitely I can see as Mark Cuban, but yeah, because they're both great guys, and they're nice, but like Robert seems to me like more like a people's person, you know, like smiling and everything is, I think it's more like your style. But obviously you have the savvy investing side from Mark Cuban, so pretty nice. So you feel
Thank you.
like a Shark Tank, and then so how do
Yeah.
you?
So they were presenting to me, but I realized I was too entrepreneurial for, and they recommended to kind of stay in the health industry. So we looked at like medical weight loss. There was like an acai type business. One was like a salon. The only one that wasn't in the health industry was a like co-op. Um, and one was like, eyelash extensions, which I was like, well, I'm obviously not going to do that personally. And, I'm not sure if Jody is, but it was really cool again to learn and digest. And they had some titans really in the franchising world who were in that, eyelash extension model, for example.
Mm.
But ultimately I realized that I was too entrepreneurial for this. And I went to Podcast Movement in July of 2018 to see John Lee Dumas, who I really emulate from Entrepreneurs on Fire, a top 5 business podcast. And, I'd asked him to be my mentor, right? We're going to talk about, the value of coaches and mentors. And he wasn't taking on anyone new at that time. I wanted to go for the best. And he recommended Cloris Kiley, who I worked with. And, she's been an incredible mentor and coach. And again, I started writing my book at that time. And what I ultimately did then, so I created Denali Consulting, and I started with a mastermind. So I just put a group of entrepreneurs who had an existing business together and a group of people that wanted to start their business and just needed some help. A great friend of mine who had been 30 years as a chocolatier in a local company right out of high school, literally, did not go to college and had been serving this company. And actually the original partners had promised him equity opportunities, and they kind of unfortunately went away when they lost their health. And then, the children took over the business. So some really special people like that joined another mastermind. And even within that 6 weeks, this person, Mike, was literally starting his business and moving on. It was really special. So I had so much fun doing that mastermind in 2018 and both of those masterminds and just, kind of monetizing, right? Making the business formal. And my love of serving other entrepreneurs has continued to grow over the last couple of years.
So that's amazing. So I was watching one of another member of the mastermind that we belong to, which is Michael Blank, and he was talking about the avatar, and he said the avatar is not the blue characters of the movie, but it's like a fancy name for the marketing person, the person that will be benefit of your products. You decide you to market to the person, and he said something like we are our first avatar, and when you say that, that's exactly what it is. So you see a need, you say okay. There is a need in terms of the physical therapy. You're going to try to do something better to provide very value, and then you'll be able to grow it to the point that it's okay. So what is next? So then you went through the whole process. You said that you felt, and that happens to all of us. We felt that we did everything wrong. But then at the end of the day, we need to get a product and we get a result. And usually it's because we learn what not to do and what to do better than it might be somebody else. So within that process, you decide to come up with the Denali consulting. But at the same time, it's not like you decided to do it on your own. Like, okay, so I'm gonna start coaching and teaching people or sharing my knowledge without like just the structure. So you get a coach. And let's go back to the point in terms of the coaching. So many examples. One of the biggest one is the athletes like Michael Jordan, the soccer players. This guy called Cristiano Ronaldo. He has like coaches for everything. He has like a fitness coach, like coaches for for his nutrition, for his like the way he jumps, the way he runs, everything. So he succeed in his field. So in terms of like a professional and a personal coach, why someone should decide to do it that go that route, and what are the options that you said you were looking for the best, and he said I'm not taking any clients right now, I recommend somebody else. So why and what should you look in a coach to be able to have the best results?
Yeah, great question. I think that, right, if we were to climb Mount Everest, we would need a Sherpa. It would be very unlikely to succeed without an expert who's been there before. And, it's really very similar in business. The title of my book is The 4% Breakthrough. And if the reason for that title is because 96% of entrepreneurs fail in 10 years. So it's pretty grim, right? It's pretty low numbers. And my mission is to actually reverse that. I want to, have 96% of entrepreneurs succeed in 10 years. And I really, want to help, like as a short-term goal, to help 100 entrepreneurs with 6-figure businesses hit 7-figure mark, because actually the stats for 7 figures or $1 million or more in revenue is the same. Only 4% of businesses reach that level. So it's hard to do, right? The stats are against us. Going back to when I took that bigger space, when Jody and I took that 6,000 square foot space, we didn't have a plan. We flew by the seat of our pants, and we were just, lucky. But actually, when I look back, we did have, some mentors that kept us from completely gone off the guardrails. So they weren't like formal coaches at that time, but even the person that we bought the fitness center from, was still vested in our success. And, I had a financial mentor, Jim Quinn, who had Parkinson's and, fortunately / unfortunately popped out of the business world. And someone named Marilyn, one of our fitness members, had a marketing business background and mentored me in a traditional business planning process. So yeah, I really, in Tony Robbins' words, I guess, right, you need to build a team and you're going to get further faster. So just like these, athletes and stars you have, right? It's often very difficult to get to the mountaintop without a little bit of expert help.
Yeah, definitely. So you don't have to reinvent the wheel. The wheel is there.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, a lot of people don't do it that way. And especially in this era, with the social media and everything, it's a fashion. Be an entrepreneur is a fashion. Everybody's an entrepreneur, and everybody's a successful entrepreneur based on their social media. But the numbers don't lie when you say there's only 4% of companies make it after 10 years. And the numbers of the companies that stay open, or the entrepreneurial businesses, small businesses especially, they pass the one year mark, 2 year mark, are crazy. I mean, that's such a small numbers. And the same situation happened in real estate. Real estate agents, real estate professionals, real estate mortgage brokers, and also real estate investors. It's an easy way to get into in the beginning. In terms of like the licensee, and the costs are not really high, but the percentage is like the 80-20 rule. So the 80% of the 80% of the money is making by 10 or 20% of the professionals.
Right.
And that's what the struggle comes. Like, okay, so this business doesn't work, or this industry is not good. And it's not true. It's people making money in all the industries, but it's only a small percentage because they got what it takes. In a lot of cases, it's because they have the structure. They learn from somebody else. In this case, from a coach that told them what to do, and that lead us to our next point in terms of making a plan. So Tony Robbins says, like, failing to plan is planning to fail. So with that in mind, how can someone that wants to increase their production, obviously, ideally, go from six to seven figures, or even just thinking to double it. Okay, like regardless if it's a real estate investor, a small business owner, or whatever it is. So, what are the first steps that the person needs to take in consideration right now to start trying to make changes, or improve everything they're doing right now towards next year?
Yeah. So a little bit of the backstory and a little bit of the mentor. So Marilyn, my mentor, who was one of our fitness members, she was trained as a school teacher, but then she ended up working at IBM. And every new company that IBM launched, she worked with their best people, their best managers. And sometimes they would spend 6 months to a year on business plans at that time. And this is what, part of what I did with Breakthrough Physical Therapy, which allowed us to grow at 20 to 30% growth every year and to outpace the market. And when I started Denali, I followed the same process, and I had a 50-page business plan, and it was beautiful and it was great. However, working with small business owners, I realized that, the traditional process is not going to work. Most entrepreneurs are really stuck in the day-to-day and cannot break free for 40, 80, 120 hours to do something like that. So I boiled it all down to a 2-hour process. And the only step that I added was something that I believe is important, and I think you'll agree, is, forcing entrepreneurs to really do some introspection and decide what's most important to them first, because you don't want to build a business and risk your family or your health and, those kind of things. So coming up with your why or your personal mission, your cause, your reason, is the first step. But I boiled the rest down, including that, into a 2-hour process that I call a JOLT process. And just like I said, probably in the survey and study that I've been doing, over 90% of the entrepreneurs that I've been, helping and meeting and speaking to don't have a plan in place. And even a smaller percentage, even if somehow they do have a plan, executing their plan and making it come to life is actually a separate skill set and even more difficult. So that's a little backstory about how we arrived and how I created the JOLT business planning process.
And that makes a lot of sense. Like we had our meeting in our mastermind last night, and we were talking about that in terms of like what is really our motivation to do what we do. And if you ask the average person, 99% of the time, so my family, I'll do it because of my family. And to be honest with you, when you deep into it, you realize that they don't do it because of the family. They sometimes they neglect, unfortunately, in time of attention to family members. They do it for different reasons. And I'm not saying it's good or bad, but some of them they do it because they want recognition. Some of them want to make money. Some of them want to do it because they have a purpose in life. They want to just give back to the community. So
Right.
I think that portion, that first step that you mentioned, you just find out reality. What is our why? What is our real why? Not the why that we want to say, because yes, I want to save the world because I'm a nice guy. Okay,
Right.
that's great. But reality, what is that you want to do it? So then you have to go deep there, in the introspection that you said, and then once you honest with yourself, just listen. This is what I'm doing. It. This is the motivation. This is my why. So now we go to the next step. So we have to plan. So I have to figure out what to do, and also something that I realized is different. Like, and we heard this many times. Just work in the business and not on the business. So sometimes it's hard because people say, okay, if I start doing all the planning and everything, who's going to be running my business? I'm there. I'm a plumber. I'm a real estate investor. I have to go talk to clients. I have to go see properties. I have to manage my portfolio, whatever it is. I have to run my physical therapy offices. But at the same time, it is the only way to grow. So you have to really, really plan. And that's when it comes down the team, like you said before. You have to build a team around you, because you do it by yourself, you won't be able to do that. So okay, so first of all, you have to find a real why. So you have to find out what is your real motivation to do
Definitely.
it. You have to be honest with you, and then after that, you have to do the planning part. So how does that's come to tuition?
Yeah. So you want to talk about the rest of the planning part after you
Yes.
really kind of study yourself? Sure.
Yeah, usually I want someone that's listen to us right now, or if they listen to the recording later. So okay, so what are the process? So the first time you figure out what you why. Obviously, if you do this with the profession, we'll talk about later what different tools that you provide is gonna the chances to succeed are a lot higher. But I
Right.
just want to talk about like the overall process, not getting to the details, but the first thing, which is super important, is find out the why, because sometimes you might be able to build the whole structure in terms of like a business, and you don't have the real why clear, or the motivation as well. So maybe you realize, I spend all this time, and this is not what I want to do. So I
Yeah.
spend my time, money, and effort.
Totally. And it's interesting, there's other versions of sort of fast and functional planning processes, but I'm going to share what I landed with because it is very different than a friend of mine, Mitch Beinecker, is an attorney. He's got a fast, process. And I don't remember the details, but what mine is, after you really decide what's important to you, then the next step would be your company mission and what's most important to the organization. Are you going to cure cancer? What is the reason? And that is outwardly facing. So that goes out to the world. Good companies have their missions everywhere. And then next, as an entrepreneur and for your company, you need to figure out your vision, right? And this is really hard for many entrepreneurs. And I know Carlos, all the GoBundance guys, right? They're big fans of the Vivid Vision book. And this is a lot of fun. So this is, are you going to build something and sell it? Are you going to build something and keep it and have legacy? How many employees? You're going to be brick and mortar? Most people, of course, are going for financial lifestyle and geographic freedom, but how are you going to get there? And really mapping that out, because that's going to be your North Star. And then after that, this is where you start to boil it down to what you already mentioned, to a 1-year plan. And we need to know our target or our ideal segment, our ideal customer, our avatar, um, and really map them out so that we know what they look like, so we can get our message in front of them. And then we're going to toggle back and forth between objectives and strategies. So the objectives will be our key numbers for 2023: revenue, profit, how much you're going to compensate yourself, which we really haven't touched on. And this is another big mistake and passion of mine, that entrepreneurs get paid commensurate for the roles they have along the way. And after that, they actually have double digit or more profitability. So all those key numbers, your objectives, strategy is going to be how you're going to do it. And most people, by the way, right, it doesn't make sense to be the Walmart, to be the lowest provider. And then there's only one last step after that. It's what I call critical success factors. And this is putting on the table whatever things absolutely are mission critical. They have to happen or you will fail. So for me with Denali right now, it's my health, right? I'm wearing most of the hats. For me with Breakthrough Physical Therapy and Fitness, it was maintaining our insurance coverage, because if we lost our insurance coverage, not enough people tomorrow would pay us out of pocket if we went concierge. And then and only then, looking through each one of these lenses, do you start to come up with the actions that are strategic and make the most sense. And of course, you balance that with your resources. It's very easy to commit to too many actions. And of course, you are weaving in market conditions. And just like a traditional business plan, you're trying to find the opportunities in the market and where that matches with your strengths and resources.
So many things we have to break it apart, because it makes a lot. I mean, it's so interesting. We can be talking about it the whole day. Obviously, it's going to be only 45 minutes, so a little bit more than that, because I have to respect your time. So vision and mission, and that sounds super like amazing, and at sometimes like cliche. People, oh, yeah, that's my mission. But reality, a lot of people, their vision is they want to make, like you said, they want to make the money. They want to get the status. And I heard this many times. I heard it in Gobandas. If you do it because of the money, you will fail.
Right.
Because you have to have like a real like bigger than yourself in order to wake up and just get up and continue when you fail, when you get knocked to the ground. So that vision mission is once again, it's like a foundation. If you don't have the real vision on the right mission, things don't go well. And that, if you analyze that, that's the reason, like you said, that 96% of people don't go past 10 years, because they start a business because of the wrong reasons. Obviously, all of us want to make money. I haven't met an entrepreneur that said, yeah, I'm making a business, putting all this time and money, and I hope to lose money. Not really. Usually we want to make money, but at the same time, we have to have a huge vision and mission behind us. So how can someone that's listening to us or watching to us right now or later say, okay, how can I come out with how can I know if my mission is strong enough, or my vision or my mission to keep me through the hard times?
Yeah. I think we might touch on a book recommendation today, but if not, I'm going to go ahead and make it now. There's a book, Wonder Drug, where two local doctors here in New Jersey, Anthony Mazzarelli and Stephen Tresiak, it's called Wonder Drug. And they did all the research on happiness and fulfillment. And once you really find what you're passionate about and you serve others, and you can't expect anything back, the studies clearly show, if it's like a tit for tat, if you're really expecting something exchange, your happiness and satisfaction and fulfillment will be less. So you really do need to figure out how you're going to serve the world, because often I'm talking to entrepreneurs, and I've made the mistake myself. I can remember in 2018 when I was, using my journal and working with coaches, I wanted to earn X money. And when I realized I'll call it a mistake, the mistake that I was making, the wrong paradigm, and started to say, well, I want to serve X number of entrepreneurs in order to, earn X amount of money, the world opened up and everything changed, right? When you just lead with serving. So you really have to decide what you're passionate about and what you will serve others. Even there were days, weeks, months, and years where I didn't get paid with Breakthrough Physical Therapy and Fitness. Most entrepreneurs have to know that, right? It is going to be difficult. You may not make the payroll, even though we really do have to try to maintain that profit first mentality, but it's got to be something that you love so much that you could go a full year without getting a quote paycheck. But if your asset grows from $1 million to $2 million, right, you're going to get the rewards, later, if you do a good job of bringing all this together. There will be some delayed gratification in all this. It's not going to be all immediate.
and that's huge. And for just make an example, like in terms of like podcasting, someone that I look up to is Josh Durkin. He was the creator and founder of Bigger Packets, and he mentioned that multiple times. And even Brandon Turner, that we were blessed enough to have him here in the podcast. He said it takes time. Josh said that he took like 10 years to be, make the Bigger Packets what it is right now, podcast what it is right now, which is like it was but for a company, what is the biggest real estate podcast in the world, if not the biggest. But it takes time, and that that mindset to know it is going to take time, and it comes together with something that we talk about here in the podcast, which in terms of like we need residual income, we need cash flow assets, so that's going to be give us the opportunity to continue with our business or with our entrepreneurial project, because a lot of times we just run out of money. So like you said before, if you try to do a business and a lot of the business initially you're gonna lose money for the first like year, couple of years, or may not enough to survive. So you need to have another vehicle, and that's where the investments opportunities come to play. So you're gonna be able to keep your doors open. Something that you said before, and I wanted to just to go deep in there, in terms of like the the business owner, the entrepreneur, to pay himself. We did an exercise last night in our mastermind. This is called the wheel of life, and it's I mean it's not something new. It's been going through for a long time, and pretty much you have to like give you a number, a qualification from 0 to 10, and different areas of your life, your
Right.
business, your health, your relationship with God, and many more. And one of them is fun and entertainment. And out of the number of people that we were there last night, 90% of us, our lowest number was fun and entertainment. Why? Because we want to take care of everybody else. We want to take care of our business, our family, our relatives, everybody around us, but we leave ourselves to the last position.
For
So
sure.
a lot of us said, you know what, that's the number, that's the lowest one. I mean, I'm not saying that we are unhappy people. We're just not planning to just to have activities that bring us fun and entertain ourselves. And that happens also to the compensation, that you say, okay, so people just decided to have a business. Everybody gets paid. The vendor get paid. The employees get paid. The marketing people get paid. But in a lot of cases, the entrepreneur or the business owner, it leave himself to the end. In a lot of cases, that person doesn't get paid.
So true. And even with your health and fun, right? I mean, this is really the core of my message, and it connects to planning, of staying healthy and creating a balance in your life, creating a healthy business and a healthy life. Because in 2011, when we had 3 offices, about 30 employees, and we just had our 3rd child, so we had 3 children under the age of 4, I was abusing my body, not sleeping 5 hours a night or less, and working 80 plus hours a week, and not exercising much or very little. And my body finally had enough and revolted, and my digestive system, my GI system, stopped working. And I had to get an endoscopy and get tested for celiac, Crohn's, cancer. It stopped me in my tracks. So that's a big part of my message with trying to achieve this balance, and really creating some non-negotiables, because it's kind of a misnomer, right? Sleep is really probably the first thing that goes when entrepreneurs have to add something else on. And, I totally believe and want to share with other entrepreneurs that it is possible to actually have a healthy life and a healthy business together. It's certainly not easy, and you're still certainly going to have some days where it's not perfect, but you have to keep some balance, because just like we said with that planning process and your why, right? If your family is most important to you, we've seen it in GoBundance, right, Carlos? And lots of these organizations, many people are losing their relationships and going through divorce and losing their health. As I was fortunate enough that it was only temporary.
So definitely, and because of that trend and that fashion, that okay, we have to be like hustle 24/7. And one of the guys, I'm not picking him, but like Gary Vee, he's, oh, I work 18 hours a day, and that's fine. That's fine, and you should be doing that. There are times when you might need to do that for like a couple of days, but if you do that on a consistent basis, you won't be able to, you won't be able to keep it up. We had a guy, we have someone in our mastermind that he was talking about, like, let's say you have a company, that you have, I'm sorry, you have a machine that provides something that, but if you run the machine 24/7 without stopping and you do some maintenance, it's gonna break. And that's what happened with us. You know, we break, like you said, and then at one point you get forced to stop, and instead of like yourself, just like you said, just having some balance, exercise, sleeping, and I'm guilty of that. That's what you cut first. Okay, so I'm gonna be able to sleep, and then and you hear somebody like Tony Robbins, which someone that I like a lot, but he's like, okay, you can go through like with 2-3 hours of sleep, which is not true. I mean, you have to be able to recover, because that's one of the more important parts. Okay, so you have to take care of yourselves, just balance. You have your vision, your mission, you have your real why you do things, and then you have to make it happen. So you have to start planning. So you said you have to figure out what is important, and you start tracking numbers. Okay, so in this case, 2023, you want to increase production, or you want to increase your business, you want to double, or you want to go from 6 to 7. So what are the activities that someone has to keep in mind? Because if you are someone, okay, an entrepreneur or an investor, so what do you want to increase? Everybody's gonna say, okay, I'm gonna sell more, I'm gonna have higher, like more apartments or more doors or whatever it is. But then at the end of the day, I need to create activities and track them, be able to reach those points. So what are the first one, the most important one in your experience that someone has to be paying attention right now?
Yeah, so much good stuff here. So I think that, I can remember the first executive we hired and Breakthrough, and doing our pro forma and doing our forecasting, our planning, our budgeting, our, whatever you want to call it. They wanted to only go at 5%. Even at that time, inflation was 5%. I'm a big advocate for going bigger and more aggressive. And if you need to call that a stretch goal, that's fine. But you need to decide your personality and tie in some psychology as to whether, you absolutely have to hit your numbers and keep it more conservative. You want to have a little bit of a reach goal. And even if you just miss it, you kind of shot for the stars, you just miss it, you're going to be satisfied. So figure that out. I'm an advocate. Again, part of these numbers, and the reason that franchises, the numbers are reversed, the success rate is 90+%, and other small businesses, it's 4%, is capital, right? You talked about cash flow. So you do have to have enough saved up, and you do have to, be organized with your business fundamentals so you can rapidly remove hats. And another key is you have to measure things. So for this to really come to life, minimally on a monthly basis, you need to look at your financials and all your key indicators and measure what actions you took and what the results they yielded. And you, in a perfect world, you're taking that to profit level. So you need to add in your hours. If you do, in my world, like lunch with doctors, for example, you need to add in the real cost, but also your time, and take it to the profit level. So you can compare that with Facebook ads or, TV commercials, whatever it is. So people are, many entrepreneurs are in a rush to jump straight to actions. And then also it really takes discipline and commitment to actually stick with the process and measure things, and then fine tune. If you want to use a, sailboat analogy, a boat analogy, you're going to have to make pivots, adjustments, tweaks to your original plan. It won't be perfect, but you don't want to throw it out too quickly either.
Great. So you have to find out your KPIs, and then you have to track it, and then you have to just be able to try to like compare like orange with oranges in terms of like marketing dollars. If you like the example that you were using, and it reached the point like, okay, that's fine. So I did the planning, so now I have to execute. And you said that's a complete different ball game. So you have to figure out how can you be able to execute, because and I always mention this book, or the Rocket Fuel. A lot of us are like the visionaries, and a lot of us are the integrators. So
Right.
in order for someone to execute, because a lot of people might be able to great planners, I mean, they can plan really well, but when the execution part comes, things don't go well because they don't have what it takes sometimes. So how can someone try to prepare themselves to be able to execute something that they plan? Because the plan is great, like we said, if you fail the plan, you plan to fail, but if you don't execute your plan, you ended up being in the same spot.
Sure. I think another analogy to think about is like in fifth grade, our scientific method, right? So we have to have assumptions of every action we're going to take and how many resources we have, and assume that we're going to spend, $1,000 on, ads or XYZ, and it's going to yield X number of leads. And then, we're going to meet with those leads, and it's going to have X number of percentage of conversions, and walk it all through. And then at the end, we need to compare against that and measure. So if you take that to profit, you can compare. And then, yeah, speaking about like Gino Wickman, you need to, this is part of the reason you need profit, because you really have to, as quickly as possible, put other people in the roles you're not as good at, right? So rapidly replace hats, but especially hats where you're not strong in, because people are good at what they like and like what they're good at. So if you're really not good at execution or coming up with a vision, or, marketing or operations or doing the bookkeeping, you're going to put it off last, and you're just not going to do a good job, and it's not going to get done at all. So those are a couple quick things to your points.
And that's huge, because you hear on a lot of books and everything. You have to become strong. You have to get like when your weakness, you have to work on them, and until they get strong. And then you hear other perception, or point of view, which I'm aligned with that. Aligned with that one. And you said it too. You have to keep getting stronger when you're strong points, and your weak spot. You have to find someone else that's going to be doing it for you. But unfortunately, a lot of entrepreneurs wants to become great in everything. And there is a book called The One Thing for Gary Keller. He was the founder of Keller Williams, and he says that, if you see the big guys like Mark Zuckerberg, like the best in the world, they become really experts in one thing. And they realize what the other things they're not good at it. They just find qualified people to be able to take care of those hats. So that's something huge, because a lot of us, especially with the YouTube and everything, we get the analysis paralysis. We want to learn everything and find out how to do it. And this is another book that we've been talking about, books, the who know how. And sometimes
Yes,
instead of how can we do this, we have to figure out who is going to be able to do it for me, and instead of me finding out how can I do it.
for sure. And similar with companies, you have to decide what is something you're going to be world class in, right? So Jim Collins, he calls that the hedgehog effect. And, Marcus Buckingham is the one, now discover your strengths, that really is an advocate. You're right. There is other, varying schools of thought, but most expert opinion on that is it is easier to improve your strengths really than to try to bring up your weaknesses. And that applies to development plans, right? So what I talked about earlier, and I feel like is a part of a secret sauce I want to share with your community, for all your people, but including your best people, really ask them what they love, and where their love and interest aligns with your organization's goals and needs. Make that part of the plan and go for that.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, so someone is listening to us, is watching us, say, okay, that sounds great. So how can I get it done? How can I do all the structures if I barely have time to sleep? I wasn't able to sleep anymore. I mean, the amount of hours that I need, and now he said, okay, I need to plan. I need to have the KPI, have the vision and mission. So. And that's what comes into play. So how can I get it done? So what are the tools that you have right now? And how can someone say, okay, that's fine. That I resonate with the message. I figured out what I'm doing. It's not sustainable. My heart, my body is telling me already. And because I'm getting weight, I'm tired. I don't have any energy. And those are signals that usually a lot of us went through. So how can someone be able to benefit from the tools that you have, and what are the tools that they can apply, start just getting into it right now, so going to be able to have better results for next year? And at the same time, it's not at this point, based on what our conversation, obviously we want to get better results, but it's more like a balanced life. So to have a better lifestyle. And like we said before, we belong to different groups, including GoBundance, and we see great people. And we're not want to pick in GoBundance and our GoBundance members and any other organization. You people that are succeeding in one area in their life, and some other area that neglect them. So how can someone say, okay, that's fine, I'm in that boat, I want to get that, but I just don't know how to do it.
Sure. Well, I love to pay it all forward, right, and to help entrepreneurs. So the Jolt framework that I'm speaking about, I share that with the world, and people can get that if you go to denaliconsultingteam.com/strategy, you can have a copy of the whole framework. And if you are an action taker, a strategic action taker, and you actually roll up your sleeves and you break out of the day-to-day chaos and mayhem and spend some time on top of the mountaintop figuring out what's most important in your life. Basically, if you take a first cut at it, I will be happy to meet with you complimentary and help fill in the gaps on your Jolt business and life plan. And also the book that I mentioned, the 4% Breakthrough, is really, it's a step-by-step process. Each chapter is actually a step in the process. So the first section is on personal development. As Jim Rohn says, really, people are rarely successful beyond the level of their personal development. And then the second section is the business fundamentals. This is where you just simply ask yourself, can I go away from my business for a month? Right. And lastly, it's the health and lifestyle. So this is where you kind of weave mental and physical health into the business fundamentals to really create a freestanding business. And humbly speaking, not that many entrepreneurs have built a business that they can support their operator, their leader. Gino Wickman, John Maxwell, Jeff Bezos, a handful of people. And, I was able to do that over 13 years of really hard knocks and pain. And I'm happy to share all that, because more entrepreneurs that build great businesses and go on to spread their wings to do other things, it was wonderful to see in the world. So that's what I would love to help happen.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. We're gonna put the links in the description. I just want to point out your shirt. I love it. I love this style. So I do want to mention that you are one of my investors, one of our projects. So I want to thank you for the trust. And that's important too. Like you mentioned at the beginning of the episode, diversification. That you realized that you just have small business, and then you wanted to grow, and then you got the proper proper tools and proper coaching and proper and that happens a lot with a lot of people that they just don't know how to do it. So you have to figure out someone that has been going through this process. And in terms of diversification, just figure out ways to be able to put your money, especially right now with the inflation and everything. So I want to thank you that.
Absolutely. Well, you've been a great real estate mentor and life mentor. And yes, thank you for being able to be part of your community, for sure. And I think you wanted me to say this and I didn't. But right now, for anyone who knows they need a business and life plan and doesn't have a whole lot of time, anyone who commits to a Jolt Denali's, version of this Jolt business and life plan by the end of the year, I'm actually offering a full quarter of coaching, 3 months of private coaching as an additional gift. So that way, I can make sure that you're actually going to execute the plan, and you can certainly feel good that you're going to be able to not have some beautiful plan that sits on a shelf, but that you can actually make it come alive.
And that's huge. Sometimes you have just great books, like great equipment. And it happens a lot with the podcasting world. People just go get the best microphone and everything, and they just do it for two, 3 episodes, and just put it to the side because they one, they don't know how to do it. They decide because of their wrong reasons, or they just get burned because of the amount of work that needs to be done. So amazing. I want to thank you for all the information that you provide to us. And I also wanted to learn more about your personal as a person, in a personal level. So in terms of like hobbies, what are your hobbies when you are not like doing the coaching, the mentoring, the mastermind, when you are not in Clubhouse and all those things that you do, and then you run the business, and then you part of the masterminds yourself. So what are your hobbies? What do you like to do when you want to have fun?
Yeah, thank you for asking and caring. There's nothing in the world that I love more than basketball, and I'm still fortunate to be playing some rec basketball with some men, so that's fun. But right now, my son Aspen, an 8th grader, I'm coaching his team. So we've got the 8th grade boys, and we had 8 games here in December, so we're having a blast, and so that's good. Love, and I didn't know you didn't know that. So yeah, glad to see the reaction. But yeah, I love basketball. And, my youngest daughter is actually playing basketball for the 2nd year, Sierra. So it's fun to see her. And we're trying to take them to the Palestra, the court in Philadelphia that's had a lot of professional. It's really just the pinnacle of courts to play and see men or women before or after they get to play. And yeah, Jody and I love nothing more than being outside in nature. That's so relaxing and refreshing and rejuvenating to us. And I don't know if you're going to be able to come to Tahoe or not, but hopefully with GoBundance, because I'm looking forward to that. So yeah, and of course, it's the holiday season, right time with family. Looking forward to going away next week. I've got a 10th, 8th, and 6th grader. So when you can really take your family out of your normal home environment and get some quality time with them, that we've really found out how special that is over the last year.
Yeah, that's amazing, and I was surprised because well, we've been talking about different things, but I didn't know that you really like basketball smash. I do. I'm not a good player though, but we did coach one of our daughters' team for a couple, I think for a year, when she was like, I think she was a seventh grader. A year later, and it's so much fun. It's a lot of, I mean, it's exciting, but a lot of responsibility at the same time because as a parent, you think your child is the best child in the world, and you want to try to rotate them, but at the same time, you want to try to hopefully win the games. So it is exciting, but you have to have the background and the tools to be able to do it properly. In terms of like a book, we mentioned already a couple of books. We mentioned your book, The 4%ers. We mentioned a couple other books, but besides the one that you already mentioned, what is the one book that someone that wants to try to uh, get ahead in their business and in life, you would recommend them to read or to listen in my case, because I usually don't read. I just
Y-
listen.
Yeah, for sure. So, I already mentioned Wonder Drug. So for all of you out there really trying to understand how you can have happiness and fulfillment while you're on your entrepreneurial journey, no matter what stage you are, I recommend that book. So in addition to that, so many good books, but I guess if I just had to pick one, and Carlos, I think you mentioned Michael Gerber earlier, but I would definitely recommend the Entrepreneurial Myth by Michael Gerber. And he's the one that came up with this concept of working on the business and not just in the business. So consider that. And I'll give a little bonus, with the Go Abundance guys, I'm rereading Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. It's timeless. And by the way, I mean, there is, strategic planning, and having a strategy is a big part of what Napoleon Hill wrote in 1940. So be sure not to just take action, but to take strategic action.
And that's big, sometimes you think, okay, I have to find out what are the new tools. Reality, this information, like Napoleon Hill, I mean, so many years, I mean, more than like 80 years already, and the fundamentals, even without the technology that we have right now, it's still the same, so that's what important to go back. My wife is a huge fan of Napoleon Hill. I think I've read it once. I should read it more. I remember in a conference, Tony Rowan was asked by Jim Rohn, "How do you like the book?" And he said, "I don't know, I forgot the name of the book." He said, "Great, I read it." How many times? Once. So come on, you have to read like 10 times to be able to really understand it. And I mean, and that's true. Sometimes just to read it once is hard, but doing 10 times is a lot harder. But wonderful. Last question. What is your differentiator? How come you can get things done that other people might not? You were able to get a successful company to grow like exponential. You have a coaching program. You have a beautiful family. You're like impacting. You're paying it forward. So what is that? What is that? What is that? That you have that some of us may not.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, this is a really hard question. You mentioned it to me just before the show, and
That's what I leave it to the end.
yeah, really difficult question. And a strength weakness is, and I think back to basketball camp in 5th grade, winning the Mr. Hustle Award, right? I don't think I've ever been accused of being outworked, but that was actually to my detriment, right? With, the near burnout episode and being sick. So it's that combination of work ethic. If I can, work to manage that, right? And everyone needs to self assess and know what your strengths and weaknesses are. So if I can make sure I, obviously committed and disciplined, and I'll put in the reps, but I don't overdo it, and balance now that I'm, able to be, I'm a little wiser, and I'm not, in my 20s and 30s anymore.
I love that more wiser.
So I can, with a little bit of strategic planning, I can get more done in less time. So get better results and be more efficient and have more fulfillment just by slowing it down a notch and knowing what I want, being more thoughtful and deliberate.
Love it, love it, love it, love it. The more wiser part. I'm gonna use that one next time. More wiser. Where can we find you? Where can someone say, what? I wanna learn more. I wanna follow him. I wanna just get more information. or I just want to I just want to take action, and we just get jump on the opportunity that you provide us.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for the opportunity and for sharing. So people can reach out to me at denaliconsultingteam.com or Dr. Lance Knaub at Denali Consulting Team. You can email me directly. My social handles are Dr. Lance Knaub. And I've got a private Facebook group of about 300 entrepreneurs that we're really supporting each other's health, and not just creating healthy businesses, but healthy lives. And anyone who's brave enough to be in the hot seat every Thursday at noon Eastern, we have a weekly show where we feature an entrepreneur, and really my inner circle, people like you, are on the expert panel, and we help them with whatever their biggest challenges are. So reach out to me, listen to some other episodes, see if you're brave enough, and happy to help. And for those people that really want to go for it, again, if you send me your first cut of your business and life plan, I will help you fill in the gaps and spend 30 minutes with you to do that. And anyone who really wants to go for it, and on the website, everything is there. It's transparent. $10,000 value for a business plan for $2,500 is what the jolt is. So if you sign up for that, a full quarter of private coaching, and I'd love to support you.
Super. Okay, wonderful, brother. It was a pleasure, as always, be able to share some time with you. Just don't go. I just want to close the episode. I want to say bye to you, especially because we have Christmas coming up. So I'm gonna get you out of script right now. And for all of you, we want to wish you, all the team here at Hablemos de Real Estate, Merry Christmas. Hopefully you have a great opportunity to share with your family, and spend great, valuable time. We talk about today in terms of the balanced life. Sometimes we just focus so much in just like productions, or just increase our bottom line. But at the end of the day, we have to find out what is a real why, a real mission and vision. And want to invite you guys to make that part of your process to these couple of days before the end of the year. We're gonna come back next week. We're gonna have a new guest, and I want to invite you to follow up and all the social media. We have the YouTube channel and el Facebook page. Para todos ustedes, una vez más, recordarles y agradecerles la sintonía. Uno de los episodios que estamos haciendo en inglés. Vamos a volver la próxima semana con otro invitado. Desean los que tengan una espectacular y una feliz Navidad, y que puedan disfrutar con sus seres queridos y recordar realmente qué es lo importante y por qué hacemos todo lo que hacemos. Y recuerden que la familia es la base de la sociedad, y una familia libre a través de inversiones bien raíces es nuestra misión. Que lo bendiga a todos. Si nos quiere y nos la presta, nos encontramos la próxima semana, y que tengan una feliz Navidad.